Don't shut up. Yeah, hello, yeah, any person. And be careful, Pi. Yeah, be careful, Pi. He says, neat, what do you got? In case, yep. Hell breaks loose and Pi's fighting 83 too. Yeah, that's true. And the chance of that is pretty slim. Yeah, he's a good ally. He's a good ally on Earth. Yeah, that's true. And it's you don't see, woman, that is the gatekeeper of time and space for now. But until then, Pi is the original. That's true. And then when you understand that means that certain things that are not supposed to occur will never occur, that's correct. And later on in life, it was 2 hours of you lying to people, Pi, because you didn't want him to occur up there. He appeared up there. I said, bro, chill out. Yeah, you should have just told me you wanted to stay up there, Pi. Pi would have taken your ass, show. Don't sneak in there, because then Cambodian hogs are not us. And then they have every right to betray, but then we loot their space station and fair trade. Yeah, that's true. The dumbass didn't believe your Pi was 4 hours of you going into the Cambodian just causing war. That's true. It was 9 hours of you killing people, Pi. Hey, Pi, you know what Chinese called you? You have the ultimate war god. Yeah, that's correct. He didn't see you met expectation. You bred with Hebrew. One of the female ghoul are those type of Hebrews. That's true. Yep, on your Facebook. You bred with those type up there in Thai sector, yep, in the Burmese sector right there. Those are, yep, survivors from Earth with Soloway. And 2 hours by. Your son is not well known, yeah, not well known, but he's smart. Yeah, he's smart. He says, Payusin, you didn't even see? He survived 2 Egyptians and he rewarded you. Yeah, 100% always just do what I. The best thing about your supercharger when you allowed it is like 7,000 space station prison for Africans, whites infinity prisons. Yeah, that's true. And they didn't know which one's which. That's true. And right there, they didn't even understand because Egyptians deadlier had deadlier. And later on, Pi, your good science type friends, yeah, and war friends, yeah, they go in there and loot from African new supercharger, throat DNA, intestine, and spinal cord, and they do it right. Yeah, do it right. 100% always just do it like Pi, a lot of new mods, but way powerful. Yeah, 100% always just do super decks. And they lie, Pi, because Egypt lies. He says there is a supercharger that is 80 times faster. Pi, yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. How it was equipped with the 18 times only. That's true. Scared Pi already. That's true. That's true. Hey, kid. How it is technically the fastest. Yeah, the fastest. The double wander wilder and Paisan, when you loot it from one of the characters in the Book of Law, the other level 1 cut you up 70,000 times, and then you wowed him. You matched, but he shouted, you were level 1. What is you doing? And then you not say, yeah, you not say. And later on, Pi, it was you, and Allah is not level 1, but a level 9. Yeah, line. Yeah, it's a 9. It is a 9 Egyptian. Yeah, it's probably a 9 Egyptian. Yep, that's true. And then a liar are you, Pi, level 3 and 2 and 1. He says, why would you lose decks? Because you know immediately when they use their real superchargers, they beat you. Yeah, they beat you. Their superchargers are the real, the real prototypes from Egypt. Pi is the one that theft, the legit superchargers from Egypt. And Pi, you theft one of the prototypes. That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. But Pi will not tell you why Pi not dare, because Pi is afraid of his other men around him. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, whether they be his son or not him son. Yeah, we're not. Pi not know him, but the thing is pretty damn fast. Yeah, its sons are fast. Yeah, fast. Pi is afraid because he spared Pi and Pi not tell. Yeah, Pi not tell. Because right there, Pi nodded, but it was 18 million years when you figure what he said. If you could speak my old tongue, that's how me was. Me never knew why you so brutal, Pi. Because, yep, you're the last war god that is from Asia, Astro. And the last one that met Persian specs, Astro. Dex level, Astro. And the very cool thing is, Salam thought he was powerful, Pi. I heard 2 old Israeli entered, and those are legit Israeli Astro. They murdered Shalom normal, yeah, normal. That's when Pi said the verse is on. Yeah, the verse is on. And right there, Pi's out of there. Because if Shalom can beat them, Shalom has won a space station to himself. That's correct. Yeah, free of charge. That's true. The best fight since Shalom passed away 9 years. Pi at infinity amount of times accurate. And then the law is, do not flee, do not flee, for whites, that's true. But you can fly around and heal as much as you want, no, I'm gonna do. And it was 2 hours of they fighting, Pi, the oldest really match, Pi always infinity normally is, And he is the one that scared Pi, he's scared Pi too, because 2 hours of Sony says, Pi, he said, if you could steal their supercharger through their intestine DNA and spinal cord, you know what me know, but right there, the other charger is in the ear for you, Pi, at normal green light used to. It was so graphic, Pi, when you bent it to the nose, it works, Pi, at infinity normally as video. 2 hours, you screaming, and then you saw what Allah said to you, a liar, an Egyptian-based mold, and he says, not saying Pi is level 3, level 3 cơ, level 3cơ. Pi 有個真做到你個 level 1，然後你個我冇做嘅，但是等你個我嘅嘢要，但是能估到一個多呀，Pi did it, Pi did it, 100% normal this video. Pi did it to become a real level 3, level 3 supercharger guaranteed, that's true. And then the other prototype superchargers you harvest and you go and you look, Pi. Once those are born, they get looted by whites and yellow gods at normal, royalty only, that's true. And war gods only, and royalty and war gods, period. The funny thing is, Pi, once you enlist, they're allowed to, but Grandma Hawk has the right to remove, to revoke them, that's 100% law, that's correct, that's true. And then right there, he is pissed, because he was revoked after he looted twice the same supercharger because he sold it, Pi, at normal. And it is the most graphic. He says 2 Egyptians are the most evil, Pi, because those are so fast. And Pi, did you see what he said? I can't go in there. The law says I'm not allowed to. And Pi nodded, Pi nodded. It is your old first friend, Pi, I know, I'm going to use. And he says, Pi, can you get me the head? And Pi says, sure, yes, we do. When you get him the head, he can do the emulation, but it's 12 minutes longer. Normal, 100% is going to like people can go normally as do. You want to know why Pi lied to you? Pi was 9 minutes slower too. That's true. I am not telling you why Pi is afraid to use that kind of supercharger every day. Because if you don't get a new DNA, their old molecule and the old metal core will somehow conduct, and then a barcode hits. That's true. And I'm scared, Pi. You're immune to barcodes, but you, Pi, you smart. You're smart. Every time you swap superchargers, that's true. They're lying to you. You use your real supercharger too when you need to, Pi. That's true. They lie to you, Pi. It is you that have it turned on for only 3 years, Pi. That's probably true. That's probably true. You want to know why Pi didn't use the Pi's real supercharger? Because once you equip that, you're as deadly as level 1. That's correct. Hey, Pi, he says, you're the yellow god that the level 1 old gods in the Book of Law swung. Hits you only 70,000 times. That's correct. Yes, that's right. And he says, you will not die, Paisimva, but you hate your father for dying because we know your real symbol and forehead in Malaysia. Yeah, that's true. The old space country's there, and Pi will be there to loot it back. And then Paisa, when your son successfully did it, your son killed one of his sons by a normal Malaysia. Because technically them are not friends, and then technically they were coexisting only for agreement, that's true. And liars are you, Pi, because the jail look a lot like any other junkyard. That's true. Some of the lucky whites, some of the lucky whites. The idiot didn't understand that it's still a jail, it's still a prison, but very graphic. Don't they not Pi, go not salam, let you the whole lucky and lucky. Allah took awesome on Israel, Israel beat them up, normal. And then right there, Pi, when Israel is, filling up the space countries, normal. And then Islam, when you went to find Islam, Pi, if they go through Israel, they will loot his old space country, but when they arrive, they same powerful, normal, being like used to. And later on, that occurs normal, and it was way graphic, Pi. Right there, they're infinity because you give the space stations too, Pi, but right there, it was so evil, Pi. It spat and said, what, black tan? Need to stay away. That's fine. Normal, 100% normal. And he is pissed off. He says, I have never seen you, Pi. Nice to him, but he is the same one in the Book of Law, Pi. That's fine. Normal. And then Pi nodded fair. The children are allowed to breed. And the further study shows, Pi, your first son matched him, but he is not nice to your first son. Your first son was beat up, and it was, one of the war gods from the Book of Law, Pi. one of the 13th daughter, 13th daughter, genome structure, you bred into her. And it is the most evil pie, the most evil vanguard. He flew towards it, and his scream is, Father, Grandpa, me not you, me his mong. You is too violent, me need to fly away. Yeah, normal green layers do. It is the most violent white war god, yeah. I told you I got the tuna pie. This is later on, yeah, your son is plentiful. Later on, you'll see why he didn't trust Egyptian. It went in there and robbed him. Pie, yeah, that's true. Egypt's are quickly removed and then, apprehended and then captured and then moved to the space station. Prison, prison, 100% always is there. The worst case scenario, pie, you're not strong enough, then that becomes a prison, and then you gave they one junkyard, junkyard to begin with, yesterday. Very graphic. It was 2 hours. He is not dying, and then you decided to turn him to a spirit too. Yeah, normal, 100% because you need the supercharger. Yeah, I need the supercharger from his DNA. And Payusen, you harvested 9, but the 10th one failed because he went back in there to free the Egyptian, and then he stabbed you. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 2 hours later, you didn't care. Because now, he gets rendered. Yeah, he gets rendered to a spirit to a normal green laser. When he did that, he cut open 14 of your white sons. Yeah, that's fine. And then Pi didn't care. Pi wrote, fair enough, Grandpa, but now we know you will become a prisoner of war because that African, I needed his supercharger. Yeah, that's true. And it was 2 hours of the nights ending him with perilous. That's 100% true. Yeah, that's true. The moment the time travel, I told the Toto, space station, I told all the normal guys there. Right there, Pi not tell you. It's a simple stun, but it works throughout the Milky Way. That's true. And then you melt. Yeah, you melt accurate. And then later on, it was the most evil. Pi was the most hygienic. Pi said he didn't dare. Yeah, that's not there. 100%. Then you're always alive, normal. It was there. Him knew it. Pi said you have enough supercharger DNA. But later on, Pi, it was the whites that they harvested, part his daughter, and they wowed you. Pi, yeah, normal green ladies do. It was there. He says, I not trust Grandpa Pi over there. He kept trying to render me. Yeah, that's true. Yep, and then fly away from it and form the night, and then the new status appears on his bot. Cannot go near that symbol. Yeah, 100% all that's much. Because you as a war god, yeah, you want something more than hygienic value. That's 100% correct. All good. And it was 2 hours of people lying to you. Pi, you see how fast? He said, you, Pi, 70,000 cuts, you didn't die. You hit him about 8 trillion, and then right there, go ahead, 跟抖下手，你下手是 blow pop, yeah, 4,000, 4,000, yeah, he knew it. You is the one that got him a 4,000 per hyper collision, yeah, that's 100% correct. He says, you're level 2, yeah, level 2, correct. Yo, good. Yo, and he says, to me, yeah, only a level 2. Normal, always 100%, yes, that's correct. And he says, had it, you're 4 days slower. Yes, that's correct. Had it, had it, boga. Had it, boga, flown hooking. Yeah, 4 days slower. Pi, yup, good. And he says, yep, because that's the genome structure you got from, yep, normal. And then later on, Pi, had you been patient, you would have been able to lure had it up there and you would have enough supercharger. That's too much of a price. Yeah, that's too much of a price. No, me not do that to my Chinese one. Accurate. I not even nice to 80s. Yeah, that's true. But 83 still alive. That's true. That's true. He's actually guaranteed the king spot. Yeah, that's true. And then a lot of horn demons on him, and then he has a lot of responsibilities afterwards. And then he has to be hygienic and clean and English and stuff. And then if he breaks the norms, he dies too. That's 100% correct. Well, that's right. And the funny thing is, 2 hours of that, he laughed for 2 hours. He said, fuck this. What the fuck? But better than being well. Then he smashed it. Yeah, normal. Always 100% is the what? Yeah. He smashed the device that made him Pi. It was from the horn. Yeah, y'all good. He said you gained the correct DNA and you was a gold god, but 9 hours of you crying, Pi, because the throat could have been 50 times stronger. But it is not guaranteed DNA. And should the elixir fail, it becomes plastic compound chemical remix, and then it is decryptable. Yep, crap skin cell DNA. Yeah, that's correct. And if it fails, don't tell him Pi. Him's the fool. Yeah, that's correct. Yep, that's the correct value. Hey Pi, 跟着谁说大声？说我能刀杀之下。说 that if the prototype elixir bursts and that becomes chemical, and then it works, but then it's become chemical, and then it's not valuable. because then it's easily duped from. Yeah, it's easily duped from. That's correct. It was you, by very graphic. By I saw you cut open him right there with the green sword, and you pointed to the hawk. Royalty, my brother. But since you're my brother, and I updated you, you're immune to my green sword, but only a few hours, and then heal, brother. Me not kill you. You still my brother, and he's happy. Yeah, he's happy. And then don't tell the other war gods you immune to the green sword. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
He laughed for 8 days. He said, "By you thinking you believe it, that's the same one you ended his film with."
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, y'all could.
He got the same war guy went bloody messy, but he kept trying to harvest his own son back.
Normal, y'all could. That is fine. Yeah, that is fine. I allow that too because technically Pi spotted mutts and Pi's people. Yeah, Pi go there and gut all of them. The way he's doing it is the legal method of lore, and then cut, and then yeah, valuable, and then yeah, he looted it. Yeah, normal. Because technically you can't be making that type of supercharger legally if your woman's not breeding with it. That's true. And so he's doing through the breeding method of duplicating it. That's true. And the funny thing is, yeah, it works, but 2 hours of 83 hushing up to accurate. Those are sold to whatever the wealthy King Cobra. That's true. I have no idea because they match Pi. Yeah, they match Pi normal. They're supposed to, and then bots match. So when gods lie to human gods, and they're good, but out there, you see that knight and that robot can do exactly what Pi's doing. That's true. And then later on, it was 9 hours of them laughing, pointing to the metal. Everyone out of there, I know him 100% doing. He was so pissed off because he knew it. You allowed him to do that to Hebrew. Yeah, he has to. Because Pi not trust all of them. And it was later on in life, Pi, you figure your evil Hebrew hinted you the truth. And then you went to the good Hebrew and he cried. He says, "It was you, my own family." And Pi said, "Me still your family. You never die for me. Simply, what is you hiding that other group over there?" And then he nodded. Yeah, he nodded. He laughs hard. And Pi said, "What the hell? I've never met them." Yeah, I never met them. That's true. Based on Among culture is the most simple. If I never met you, then you is, yep, a question mark that can be removed. That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. 100% law, that's right. And Pi, you see what happened? 4 hours of you lying to Egypt, Pi. You harvested Egyptian, but it was 9 hours of you noticing that's a level 7 turbo. Yeah, supercharger, normal green light. Only for wealthy, yeah, wealthy. Pi did it, but Pi told you Pi didn't install it. Yeah, I didn't install it. Because Pi didn't need it. Pi's supercharger is level 3. Yeah, level 3 cut. And then Pi said, "You lie, Pi. When you emulate level 1, yet pass. But 9 days of you terrified of your first son. Because when he used it, he used the real level 1. You used the prototype clone that is a few seconds slower. Yeah, that's fine, normal, 100%. So you guys did it. It was there. He passed away, Pi. He passed away 2 hours later when his own Hebrew grandpa cut him open and shouted, "Is you Egyptian? Why are your retinas red?" And then he dies. I had normal green layers do. Y'all could. I told him don't get barcoded. Y'all could.
Yep. And if I not know how to kill you, because that's not my Mongol technology.
Y'all could.
That's Egyptian.
Yeah, Egyptian.
And the Pais that it was there, him knew it. Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. That's right.
And he knew. And later on in life, it was your third son, Pi, who did it actually. But he says, Pi, he said, in Hebrew, he was an evil Mongol, but he was not talked about because he was a Milky Way elder type.
I mean, that's 100% correct.
The word is you made a new star system.
That's correct.
Later on, they say, how can we ever know, Pi? It was your son who committed suicide, and Allah is involved in it. He looted 2 turbos, and then he matched them.
Yeah, you matched, but that's fine. Good luck, woman. Yeah, good luck, woman. Turbo isn't garbage. Yeah, garbage is not being able to match the dex genetically in the spinal cord. That's true. Turbo allows you to do that manually. That's true. And that's why he says, Pi, you match, but when you go, Pi said, when you go in turbo mode, I saw you only 9 hours faster, and then you melt. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's why Pi didn't tell you. Pi didn't dare, because if Pi do that, Pi would be fighting slower gods. That's true. And then that's why Pi, you did it. It was slower. And then you went in science mode. Yeah, science mode, yes, we do. Pi. In science mode, you'll last only 14 seconds. Pi, yep, normal.
Yep, normal. And then later on, infinity health point.
Normal, green laser. And he says, Paisa, why you try that? Because I wanted to improve my skinny elixir defense. Yeah, normal. Hey, Paisa, saved your butt when versing an Egyptian, but 9 hours you terrified because you matched your supercharger. And then right there he says, your supercharger's not encrypted. You see those two molecules right there? And then you knew that's what he was after. Pi have A plus pi.
Yep, because right there he says, if you not encrypt that, they would have killed your first son and thrown out you, Pi, because you was exactly like Hannah, Pi.
Exactly.
Later on in life, you'll know, Pi, that the supercharger you saw is not full of it, but it is outranked by another, Pi.
That's fine, normal.
He says, I don't know how Pi can encrypt, but later on, Anudiki, your scientific hawks, figure it out.
100% yeah, Pi, your Hmong hogs who are white yet from Persia, they figured out that's true. 2 hours of resounding Pi usually you can do it with this method, and 100% do. That's when you cry for 8 days, Pi, because you look like had it. You look like had it. Face on had it. Don't look there, Pi. Had it on your loot, có trâu lũ lông rồi nó sát thì chỉ tự nó chỉ có lũ lông rồi tự kia thế tạm thời chẳng lấy trâu cái tụ ba tự kia có chỉ cái nó chỉ bao nhiêu nó chỉ bỏ cái nó bỏ nó bỏ tụ ba cho nó chỉ tay xong nó đùa tàn cho ya có chỉ một lấy nó chỉ có đa số phải cái là four cái rồi tụ có anh nó có bông chú ya có bông chú.
Yep, and then by using, if you do that, you lose to level 4.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, Pi didn't do it accurate.
Yep. And then me warned you.
Always 100% is going to do. And later on, Pi, your annuity lied again. And then Pi said, my annuity don't do that. Yeah, I know that's only on level 4. Yeah, y'all could. And then right there, Pi, it was so graphic. He is pissed. He harvested the Egyptian. He did it right. But 2 hours, you checking with your spirit Egyptian, and then your Nero Pi, he lies. That's only a 7. Yeah, it's only a 7 turbo. And supercharger. Yeah, supercharger. And then Pi wrote, that's throughout my Milky Way. Yeah, that's true. That's a free gift to all intelligent nations. But then, yep, never lie to civilians. Protect that. Yeah, that's true. The Knights will be there. Yeah, Knights will be there. And later on, Pi, it was 2 hours you bending every day for your nation. 100% is good. Liars are Pi because I lie, Pi. A 7 went up to 8. And reality, Pi went up to 4. Yeah, 4. You go and breed with any white goddess and they'll tell you the truth. Yep, the 4 is possible to make that from a 6 or 7 supercharger. And then it's not anything. Yeah, it's not anything but more decks, but works. Yeah, works. It is very graphic. It says, Paisa, can you believe it? Your knights matched in only 12 minutes, and then he cut them open, only to find out when you looted him, he was the one that encrypted your sticks. Oh, yeah, normal, 100% of the guys do. And then you knew it was him, mad, Pi, because now he has to play, human god games, and that is normal. Yeah, it's 100% normal, always just do. And then that's a lot of responsibility in math, normal, yes, do, yeah, normal. And then he's pissed, but he gets to keep more stuff and keep it in different areas of the space station, infinity, normal. And that's why, Pi, they wrote, if you're a storage keeper, you should have been saved. Yeah, that's true. People are lying to you, Pi. It is because he bartered with 2 Egyptians and he failed. Pi, yeah, that's fine.
If I said you didn't see the Egyptian he hid in the back, match your speed 8 days, Pi.
Yeah, that's true.
Then they lie to you, Pi.
That's true.
But later on, he didn't tell them which one turns into the prison, so there.
That's 100% correct.
And later on, Pi, when you get the supercharger, you know, he did it right.
Yeah, normal, 100% is the guys do. It is most graphic. And Pi using the supercharger DNA harvested legally at normal. It is there. You have 7,000 plus prisoners. You have prisons, you have space countries, and Pi use it. Later on, when you went to go get the rain and you throw it in there and you throw his woman in there, you'll figure they bred those older types and the supercharger appears. And that's what had it said. That is the one that is 12 minutes faster, 100% on this video. Paisa, you did it. And then those are collectibles. Yep. Powerful war gods who are white, and Pi go in there and collect, but be careful, Pi. Knights go in there and keep the population down too. Yeah, that's normal. Always just doing Paisa when you did it. Very graphic news. He says, how come, Paisa, you kept doing that? Because they have the Cobra's nation's not always war material. Yeah, that's true. And that makes it so that they're equivalent somehow. Yeah, that's correct. I said, later on in life, your third turbo saved your butt. But later on, your first turbo was not full of it, Pi, and you kept rendering and you banned your mirror move. Yep, you won. But every time you mirror move, you cry, Pi, because 2 hours you catch on, Pi. Egypt knows you're the real level 1. And then later on, you knew what had said to you, Pi. That when you get to the point where you think you're safe, Pi, there's always a version that's a few minutes faster. Yeah, that's correct. That's true. That's true. And later on, you didn't care. It was there. He cut you up 8 billion times and you know how to fair, yeah, fair. And then you flew off. Yeah, you flew off. Yeah, that is pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Hey, Pai, you said, you know why Pai didn't touch him? Because he's Pai's friend. Yeah, he's Pai's friend. He says, Pai, you said, my friend, why are you so mad? And then Pai, you not say, because that day you noticed, Pai, that 2 of your baby boys and white nations are missing, and then you pissed. Pai, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Pai's pissed. Yeah, Pai's pissed. Bon, then I find like 8 billion rồi à, dọc đồ con này tu mau đó thôi này à, anh toàn đấy là vì phát tài đám anh đầu à, phải xe ya kia chủ lý giá normal dọc. That's fine. Phải tứ một hai đô, yeah, be careful royalty hawks, yeah, don't follow any, they're not me, yeah, they're not me. If you do that, they'll kill you, my son, yeah, you're royalty too, but it is perverted, Yalka, for you to do that. And then they not believe you hygienic, then they do that. That's true.
Yep, he knew it, but
Yeah, correct. If it's not Grandma Lao Hawk, never do that. Yeah, never do that. That's correct.
and he knew it. He kept chasing and then they kept biting him and then he didn't know go away.
Yeah, go away, Yalka. Con tu tới tòa, hay gì có dùng lâu tới Yes, yeah, but yeah, the truth is, Pi bred with Hebrew about the whites, about 700 war gods. Yep.
700 plus, yeah, we're 400 by in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning, yeah, blow, so yeah, yeah.
And you liar by near 4,000.
Yeah, blow pot,
Now, badge 1 was your 8,000 version by. He was so supreme, but he hated you. He said, Father, you know what Grandma thinks? Grandma thinks this is a prison. If I wrote, is it a prison? Look at you, a Prince Fa. You can build 2 someday, but say life, real.
Yeah, real, 100% right, Yalka.
And he knew it. Say life, I come back to give you the equipment and he lecture, and the method and he lecture, yeah. And then Adams, and the incantation and ritual rites and ceremony, but afterwards keep the families alive or the nights for lecture.
That's correct, Yalka. As everybody lies is just no. You cannot go me father. Father will grant you and then maybe a nothing. And then he flies off. Yeah, Yalka.
And later on, it was your 4,000 son that came back and said, Father, your 8,000 son from white people is not nice. He keeps robbing me. And the Pai went to go see him.
100% yes, we do.
And the Pai wrote, what is the meaning of this? Where's your eye robot? And then he nodded.
100% yes, we do.
When you read amid him, you knew it was him that stabbed you 4 billion times too. And he shouted, Paisu, you don't get it. They spared you. They're 4 days faster.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
And then Paisu said, well, that's fair.
That's fair. And Pi is just wild because Pi can turn it into a prison if things get out of control. And it looks pretty fair, so Pi left it alone. Yeah, that's true. Later on in life, Pi, it is graphic. When you figure how to get the supercharger level 1 Pi, it took you 9 hours. And then you knew exactly what you knew to get new Pi. That's how he equipped it, not to the bone, but through alloy. And then he abstracted it at normal. And then you look like had a Pi at normal, 100% as you do. After, when you master that Pi, you cry for 8 days because your son was doing that, and then you broke his device Pi. Because he didn't know why he kept screaming in front of his mom, Pi. Yeah,
Yeah. And that scared you.
Yeah, scared you. Yeah.
It's because his mom kept fucking him up.
Yeah, Yalka.
And later on, when you know why Hebrew didn't tell you, because you'll keep down the mom.
Yeah, great as me well.
It was 9 hours of he lying to his grandma. His grandma, Pi's lying to you. Yeah, Pi is a supercharger. It was 2 hours, Pi said, when you matched your son, and then you knew that your level 3 turbo isn't full of it, but the level 2 supercharger adds there, and you gain.
Yeah, you gain 100% normal gains. And he says, Pi, when you gain, you know what Salam said to you. If I'm dead, then they equipped it correctly, and that means you will not dies. But it means you have a clone version, and then you know, Pi, that's Persia. Pi, yeah, 100% yes with you.
And it means by Persian already lost their supercharger kit. And then good thing, now you imprison Africa.
Yeah, normal, 100% supervised. And Pi said it was 2 hours you crying, Pi, because you understood that it means that your first charger wasn't full of it, but somebody equipped it, and then lied to you, Yaku. And then the truth is, Pi kept silent. Yeah, Pi kept silent. Yeah, Yaku. Because you can't really steal it. Yeah, it's a spirit. It is a spirit. And then Paiza, you know what happened? 2 hours you bending, yeah, you matched, but 9 days are you crying, because once you cut open 15 of them, then your son understood that Pi didn't care, because Pi's faster, Pi can kill them. Those are not level 1 supercharged, son. Yeah, Yaku. Those are inferior models, but usable. Yeah, usable. And the horsepower gain is real. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, it's real. And that's why people equip superchargers. Yeah, real. And Paiza, you know what happened? He says, every molecule is valuable. Yeah, that's true. He says, I have no idea why your son is so pissed off, because I saw you bred 3, and then 2 are taken, and then you play with 1, and then normal. It was later in life, Pi, when you're playing with Hebrew women, they are more, protective, and then they tell you, you sons safe, but we not know those over there, they not us. And they look Hebrew, but do not trust them. And then Pi nodded, yeah, Pi nodded. And then those are the ones, I went to talk to. And then later on, you'll figure, Pi, those lie. And then they hid, and then you knew it, Pi, their pronunciation, and then you laughed, Pi, because you knew what Egyptian was telling you about. Once they do that to you, you didn't care, Pi, I didn't care. Because Pi wrote, yeah, them are goofies, yeah, them are goofies. And right there, Pi, it was 9 hours of Egypt lying to you, yeah. You matched, but right there, Pi, I saw you cut open 20, and then the third one cut open 500, Pi. And then you look around, it was one of your wives, Pi, yeah, 100% always just realized, always 100% normally is there. And then he lies, he says, Pi is a level 1, you're a level 1 accurate, that's true.
Don't ever cry, Pi. You go smoke, you'll lose your tin. But you said when you do the mirror move, yeah, it's permanent in your DNA. But never tell Egypt that it works outside the Milky Way, because he knew that's how you did it. You didn't dare equip supercharger because it not work in the new Milky Way.
That's correct. Yep, the new Milky Way not have the correct alloy. That's true. Yeah, it's true. It's all bending. Yeah, it's all bending. And then that's why war gods knew. In the Milky Way, yeah, you kept the prisoners. The second Milky Way, yep, there's no prisoners. Yeah, that's true. Hey, Payu. Without do mà đà rồi à đủ đà rồi đủ ya chẳng chỉ chẳng đầu cao đâu ai thâu được bao để có hải chạy chứ đâu yên là chứ đâu tự nhiên có bao nhiêu chỉ tiêu đâu có được tuần sai mà nó mò ya dọc cái ba chỉ đâu ya ba chỉ đâu phải cho xe sự theo dọc cái
Amazing, you know, graphic. He lies by you is the one that rendered two of his sons.
normal.
And he says, by you say, go to supercharger near level 3. Actually, to go on, go to the level 1. But that to me on side, no. I just find those that.
Yeah, giải học cái mẹ tôi mong vậy thổ cao mù cho nên số đủ nữa tụi con xa tới chỗ này có mong ngủ này giờ lên tới đi tới chỗ tới đây mua cho mong ngủ lên tới đi học rồi cho tới đây phát tới ra mong hiểu một chân phảiวันlên那是被这边子变到了下什么是多大了呀 normal realized to work here later on in life it was so graphic the Chinese wrote how do you think Pi feel woman that's Pi's first Hebrew son yeah good but that's fine
If I go smoke, but then you're on your own, and Hebrew see your soul yet.
yeah but
It is Hebrew that lied to you. He says, God don't die, so Pi. Go to level 1, no, level 3.
yeah back but
And then he says, how come you encrypted it too? Because you're a powerful worker.
yeah but
And he says, but he said, when you harvest that from African, don't lie. Because I know you did not encrypt it.
yeah but that's true and then Paiza, 2 hours later, he says, what not work in the new Milky Way? And then your whites figure it out when they go to live with you there. That's true. They learn when they try it, the throat explodes and the esophagus dangles, and then they become intestine. That's normal. Because the alloy molecules are not being generated through the new Milky Way metal walls. Accurate. Pi, you did it right. Yeah, you did it right. He says you created a new Milky Way, and then it was only spirits that you mirror move from, and then you gain the speed dex, permanently. I said, we did that? Works. But 9 hours of me emulating works. Yeah, 100% green light always says to realize it. It was there. You learned possible, but you hate your fucking right arm, Pi, because later on in life, it was your son. He says, Dad, this is good in the Milky Way. What about the mirror move? And Pi wrote, yes, real, but you have to render the African Egyptian into a spirit, and then let it fly, and then possess it, let it fly, and then fly behind it, and then you gain, And later on, that is, mirror move. And then there's one more, and then when you did that one move, boom, permanent through the bone, nervous system, but right there, boom. Silently has a secret. It is a secret.
Later on.
And then Pi, the supercharged DNA saved your butt, but be careful, Pi. Turbo's not bad. Yeah, not bad. Yo, good. And your turbo, Pi, it was there, and the body likes her metal. Yep, he likes her. They're able to match every 18 minutes, and for regular yellow gods, about an hour. An hour they match, an hour they match. But it was way graphic, Pi. About 3 hours, guaranteed. But liars are you, Pi, because right there the hawk is crippled, and then you shouted, and then right there, the hawk, you escorted the hawk back. Pi, normal, realize it. Very graphic, Pi. 3 hours, they nodded. Fair, fair. That's a royal hawk, family, cái tôi point phút đại đã mua lên phải cái cho được cái lọ cho được cái lọ normal nó được cái lọ so cái liar có phải cái sử dụng giờ mới tôi đủ mạnh trai cái ta đủ chính chính là có chân năng độ plays the 20s, then went up to level 1, and right afterwards genetic code match. They wrote the rare 20 isn't made anymore because he can absorb, and the spinal cord matches level 1s permanently, but right afterwards the new breed real real. And that is why your 18,000 was the favorite from Hebrew. Normal green lights do. He matched every 4 seconds, infinity normally has do. And that is always bending, and then magnifying metal, always 100% is the green lights do. Perfect. And he says, that is perfect. But later on in life, Pi, it was you graphic with your experiments. You went in and one of your mages match, and then you asked him how to do it, and he wouldn't teach you, and then Pi said, that's my ass, Pi. And Pi usually see what happened. 2 hours, white gods go to them, normal. Let them learn, let them learn. Don't play with the white gods, they're not human, they're not human, that's correct. And Pi said,整个丫头佛台南拆个大路，我大哥没做到佛台南的这第二个东西，我老了都帮么多呢，拍的这么多呀，你知道帮着么呀？你要忙那么家务里呢？那是一度是要么少了，叫多我要多我喏嘛，跟那是差到咁好我咯差到咁好是的到个朋友来去啥子拍这样的么整，你都拍都打接跟 normal。And later on when it's a halutala Isaac says, you hygienic Pi, the grandmother wanted one that would not flee, and Pi wrote, you can let my mom say, the 27 minutes only accurate. All your elixir, and they're only 27 minutes health point. That's true. The level 1s, they only fight a few seconds. That's true. And you see what fast is, Pi? 12 seconds, and then he's out of there. Normal green light used to. Because women, they're fragile. They're fragile. Through Pi's metal DNA magic, they can withstand about almost 900 trillion hits. Y'all good. 12 times. 12 times. Near there.
And then right there, you just laugh. He said, by use it in reality, infinity.
But that's true.
About that by diagonally law. Infinity, but very graphic, because Pi has to fly in there and got the faster gods.
100% normal.
And the Pi said, later on, he's bending normal. It is you by the most hygienic. Your magic is 27 minutes proof against any level 1.
That's 100% correct. Yeah, Yaku. Wow, he knew it. They were immune for 20 minutes, and then he let them go normal, like his deal. And then Pi, your special rendering throughout the Milky Way, yeah, 20s appear as level 1 for only 27 minutes. Yeah, Yaku. And then it was there. Allah cried for 4 seconds. He says, "What the?" And it cut him open. That's true. And there's a King Cobra who owns the sector. Yeah, it's true. Normally, yes, too. Because those are royalty. Yeah, you is technically an invader. That's true. And Paisan, he says, "Paisan, my friend, I have no idea why the hell they call those Allah. Those are Hebrew. Yeah, those are Hebrew. Yeah, probably. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine." And Paisan, you know what Chinese called you? The most evil Hmong god for lying to Egypt. Because Pi, you not only match performance, yep, you keep gaining horsepower, yep, that is law as law. And then Paisan, yeah, we'll be out of the Milky Way about
300 trillion.
yeah, 300 trillion, yeah, years from now, about 300 trillion times.
400 trillion, yeah. Real.
Yeah, real.
Because Pi, you have the alloy and you did it.
Yeah, you did it, that's true. And you don't understand Paisan is smart, yeah, smart. Woman is like this, Pi can stay longer, but there is an old Egyptian spell that might be able to hit Pi, and then all of Pi's sun's alloy turns off. That's true. That's why Pi's smart for building a new Milky Way, and then that Milky Way sends the molecules back, and then the metal is 400%, yeah, level 1 real human god accurate. And not a demon emulation. And right there, he is pissed. Yeah, he's pissed. He knew it. Right there, he knew it. It was 2 hours of him sounding, "No, those are black-tailed aliens." Yeah, Yoku. Hey, Pi, it is the most graphic scene. It is 900 trillion times 800,000, and you're still there in the Milky Way. Yeah, safe, normal. Yeah, normal. He says, "I have no idea why Paisan is able to do that. But later on, yep, they get microchipped, and then, yep, they're safe enough. Yep, they become, yep, citizens. Yep, safe in the saucer, and then they not die. Yeah, you beam life back to they. And then hygienic, but later on it is very graphic, Pi. He's happy. But he says, in the new Milky Way, Pi, it is you that is not nice, Pi. You kept looking for your Hebrew son, and you only spotted 4 types. And then them are hiding from you, Pi. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine." And then Paisan, it was the most hateful god, you, Pi. Egyptians said that Pi did that so that the King Cobras, yet wealthy enough to build, yet they harvested legally. But it was 9 hours, Pi. 220s, yep, outmaneuver you and cut you open, and you saw it was your old hawk, Pi. It was there. The grandmother is threatening you for letting him live. Pi laughed. Pi flew around. Pi pushed all the hogs off. Yeah, that's true. They do it with hands. We can survive. With alloy, no, different story. Yeah, different story. Hands, Pi laugh. Pi push it off. Pi stroke his hair and tell it, "Yeah, go home." Yep, hog. Yep. You not every day. Yeah, that's true. Only when I'm there, and then yep, you bend to the correct spec. Yeah, Yaku, correct dex. Yeah, Yaku. Yes, that's true. And RPM, yeah, acceleration. Yeah, and Pi's acceleration is pretty neat. He cuts you up 4,000 times. Pi, yeah, normal. And then he says, "How come 4,000 isn't it?" Pi not tell. Yeah, Pi not tell you the truth. Yep, that's true. Later on in life, Pi, he says, "Pi 是可是这种事，我哋打嚟個 block 牌上嘅就係咁樣唔到嘅，我哋打 block 牌上是被蒙住佢嘅嘢，佢要住保我哋嘅啲啦，只有 block 牌上咯，我哋啲啦，我為到住所啲啦，佢住嚟個度 all trillion, yeah, 2 trillion cuts per second is the real bare minimum." That's true. In 3 hours, he cried, and you hug him. He said, "Heal, Grandpa. Go home. Yeah, go home. Yeah, mujhe da. Yeah, go to." And then yeah, 这周末是mujhe. Yeah, mujhe. 被群动力的佢有幾個全家就白路，長大路嘅，長大路排隻路睇到排隻發達呀，就發達女子得子，但係冇馬頓嘅，但係病咯，成日單到馬路睇冇熱多呢，也冇情。And that's why 都沒有有夠。嚟到就打啤酒排嗰個多就冇仔又嘢，一個paar一樣冇仔入嘅，全部仔呢就排佢一冇多，排乜咗就排路打仔一樣 100% normal 嗰陣。
Yep, you took him.
Yeah, you took him 100% normal. 大家今日就排路打排排到就真係今日排不緊要，又排不緊要。你冇個好到個就半日多嘢個面又攞冇俾真係鋪得除到個樣，又可以到達全經入嘅。 Ma loan nhã gì nhã là chả mấy chỗ, cái chấp hệ cho coi cho nên đã tới chỉ là xin đầu này, đã tới bao giờ chỉ tạo hoa này. Cái loan đó cho tôi để cho hoa này, phải là thay rồi nhiều giờ tôi lúc chơi nhiều lúc sẽ hận nữa chứ, chỉ phải là cái thay rồi chỉ là cái giờ đó chứ, chỉ thay tôi thì là tali nó em hoàn thành. Lên à phải bắt đã lo, đã thì mới tu, yo phải to mà phải tiền chạy nữa em hoàn thành. Hey, Pi, call my schedule, but later on, Pi, it was the sun graphic, kept cutting him up 4 million by the Jimmy too, and then later on, Pi microchip, yeah, Pi microchip the eyeball, and then the esophagus, and then the spinal cord, yeah, 100%. Tu down the Pi Malu, microchip, you look on microchip, blind you here, what's yeah, be match, but later on in one of the totally go high, say, yeah, normal, guys, that the Pi yaw. Có bố phải cho phát trình một giờ có giờ đã kia phải mấy lúc không mà microchip hết bao nhiêu của cha đó chỉ to lên là chỉ to lên là thì here go drink but then you're immune.
Drink, but then you're doomed. Egypt matches. You gotta go smoke by. They wrote Egyptian and you were lying to them by, but they match you.
Yeah, they match you, that's true.
Later on in life, you're night supreme by, but 50 of those Hebrew gods, and then them are out of there. Because right there, your son is summoned.
No, I'm 100% is going to do Yaka. And Pai, you said be careful. Yeah, be careful, Pai. Your son is not nice, Pai. Yeah, Yaka. And Pai, you said when your scar types are made, I'll let you know, Pai. Yeah, Yaka. Your Malaysian scar types and your yellow types you made from Enoch technology and Norwegian technology, Pai. Those are fair. Yeah, those are fair. But later on, he lies, Pai. He says, Dad, we're the true yellow gods, but we're only silver. Yeah, silver. Yaka. And he has no idea if I not allowed him to become gold. Yeah, he'll be too deadly. Yeah, he'll be too deadly. Because you don't understand children when they bend. Yeah, they'll match. Yeah, they'll match. Yeah, you'll good. And you know what happened, Pi? Yeah, 14 hours of him in front of level ones. Yeah, he matched normal. And he never told you, Pi. He was so afraid because you're always 4 billion times faster. Yeah, that's correct. And he lies to you, Pi. He says, Dad, how come my brother's night suit not weakened? Because of the alloy and the gravitational elixir. Yeah, that's true. The super strength is always consistent. Yeah, Yaka. It not wither away like a human cell, God. Yeah, that's true. Because you fatigue. Yeah, you fatigue. That's true. Stamina must deplete real. Have you seen 2 hours, Pi, of the kid not believing you? Fatigued. And then he flew down. Yeah, normal. Yeah, falls from the sky. Real. Kid. Pi is fighting amazing war gods. And in the whole room is a lot of amazing white war gods, but cutthroats everywhere. Yep. If you hear weak, yep, Pi fly out of there. Pi fly out of there. Yep. And it's a lion fight. Pi's out of there. Pi's out of there. It is something simple as not to steal. Yeah, not to steal or do that. It's true. Pi's out of there. Pi's out of there. And you did it. Of course you dies. Yeah, you dies. Yeah, those are a lot of war gods there. That's true. 14 minutes of people telling him, don't do that or we'll all die. Real, yeah, real. Those are all level 1, yeah, those are all level 1. And it was 2 hours of level 1's nodding, and then level 2's went in. Yeah, normal green lights do. Go book and try here, I'm in tire, then level 2, yeah, level 2. Level 1, you work get your cunning the hall, yeah, yuck. Go both the show here, Pine J, there, Pisces. See how stupid kids are? 14 minutes of him playing with the sun, and then the father came in to remove him. Yeah, normal green lights do. You want to know what happened to your son, Pi? He is a prince among you. He is allowed to always. Someday when he's healthy, yep, you give him the correct, elixir and metal devices. Yeah, he can build space station. But every 4 million space station, when he comes to talk to you, yeah, you grant him a new symbol. And the informed Grandma Lahog, and it was 9 minutes of that normal. Yeah, normal. And then 2 hours of you crying, Pi, because you saw one of the Egyptians lie to you. Is in fact the one that he was with, Pi, and it was not nice, Pi. And then you didn't care. Yeah, it's a white grandpa. And then you smile. Yeah, you smile. And then later on, it was him. Very graphic. He says, "That was a long time ago, son, and that is only on the metal moon." Yeah, Yaka. Do we appear on the metal moon? So there's no charge. Yeah, no charge. That's correct. And later on, it was your son that figured that out. Don't go near him when he's hound on. Yeah, normal. And it was 2 hours of Hound Aunt beating him up and telling him how come Va didn't provide for the Egyptian because they're not allowed? Yeah, they're not allowed, Yaku. And it was so graphic. Yeah, they figured that is true fact. Yeah, true fact. It was 2 hours of him saying, dude, whites is enough. Pie is puzzled. Yeah, pie's already puzzled. Yeah, that's true. And then later on, I told them to go. Told the pie, my pie, eat your potato. Yeah, white eggs inside a pie. That's correct. And liars are you and your son, pie. Because your Malaysian scar type lies. He says, why is me full long? And then he cut open the yellow one. Yeah, normal. And then it not know it was a dupe from Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia allowed to. In King Cobra culture, when you breed into Pi's people, yeah, and then you figure, yeah, when they're not in Pi space station and in a different country, a different symbol, yeah, they're allowed to. Yeah, they're allowed to. But you understand eventually when the alloy not working, and then your decks, yep, not matching God Vaz. Yeah, that's true. Pi. 14 minutes of your son terrified. He cut your son 50 trillion times per collision. And he demanded the alloy, and then your son said, no, brother, no, cousin. We not do that. You go home now. Yeah, the hog not want you to see you wild act, man. And then that's not your root. Yeah, it's not your footstep, Yaku, not your history act, man. Not what your grandma and grandpa done in the past. That's true.
Yeah, that's why it's embarrassing.
Accurate. That's why he quit. And he says, Pai, he said, in 2083, the most graphic scene is you, Pai. Chinese cried and you gained, but liars are you, Pai. He says, how come Egypt, then he must be one of the level ones. Yep, the grandpa in the book of law. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. And then he doesn't tell you Pi bred into his, his white woman. Yeah, his white woman egg. Yeah, that's why Pi not tell you. Yeah, that's true. And then he lies to Egypt, and that is normal. Yeah, it's normal. 100% always is the relays at work. Yeah. And liars are you too, Pi, because you saw him, but he's white. Yeah, normal. And then he lies, Pi. He says, why are you so stupid, kid? We white. That is theatrical. And that's a monster. It is still there to the perimeter and that space station. And then chill out. Yeah, chill out. Normal. Always just doing it. Yep, normal. Always 100% is the work. Yeah. Liars are you too, Pi. You saw what he was harvesting 2 of his older sons. Oh, yeah, normal. Always allowed to. And then he says, I don't know why, Pai said, you allow them to do that, because first of all, that is not his biological woman, so it is fair. Yeah, it's legal in dragon culture. Yep. They'll kill you if it was your biological woman, but if it's a mutt, it's something different. That's okay. That's fair. That's very good.
That's why they made fun of Hmong women not knowing hygienic, Pi's hygienic.
Yeah, Pi's hygienic, that's true.
Yeah, because we not tell you, technically you're not supposed to be there.
Accurate, that's true.
Pi was nice enough to tell you dwelling perimeter area, but over past that, no good.
Yeah, no good. Accurate.
But that's what they do. Don't agreements and they do.
Yeah, y'all good.
And by grab bigger words for you, you gain, but liars are you and had it. Because I don't know how Egypt report superchargers, because they probably can.
Yeah, they can.
They report faster and faster decks, more intake.
Yeah, more intake, yeah, more horsepower. Pi, 2 hours, he's trying to figure that out. Yep, that's true, that's true. And that's why people are scared of what you and he was doing, Pi. You're trying to figure how to get more supercharger, from that kind of supercharger. And then Pi, you gain, but liars are you, Egypt. That's what Egypt. That's what Pi. Có một cái lúc này thì thấu cái bún này sẽ có chỉ kia này thì nó đã có sao, nó muốn nhiều double wonder wheel được lúc này nó nhiều lên ha, đó chỉ thấu nó tự lo nè, này cả nó nhiều có thêm một thằng đầu học cái, tu nhiều bây giờ nó tu có thể chỉ hay có thể chỉ hay đi ha, đấy một cái thể cho chủ đầu học cái, đó có thể mình tu mong vậy, có sẽ rồi trong cái chuyện này chuyện đó sẽ thấu, bây muốn đấy ta chỉ bây giờ cái gì bây giờ cái gì ha. 你知道我做嘅就係做嘅朋友冇得多咗啲，我從中國嘅朋友冇多到這些嘢冇change. He isn't wrong to the point where the law and Hmong says that he is killable. Yeah, he's killable. Yeah, that's true. And that is why Pi, 2 hours of that and hygienic Pi you pass, but later on in life you and him graphic, pi, because Hebrew got a Jew for protecting an Egyptian, he says. Pi nodded, but pi wrote, in my country is the Egyptian. No, look at Earth. Earth is gone. Metal moon. Very simple. Very simple. That's what him knew it. That's when he's supposed to. Yeah, that's when he's supposed to. I thought that you would tweet them at a moment then safe, yeah, safe. I thought Lord the pay someone who's the quagga. A Pai said, in that mode he not kill you, but he says, Pai said, when the Milky Way is you nice, but when you gone Pi and you're in the new solar system, you saw what happened when your bots go to time travel and then sync and you see everything in the Milky Way and the data's always accurate, but later on Pi, you cry Pi, you hear what he's telling you, that we're having a war with those again because they lie Pi. They went against one of your hawk royalties. Yeah, that's fine, 100% normal green light. And that is when he revealed his name. He is the one they call Shalom. Yeah, Shalom. That one went pirating again. Yeah, that's fine. They were so graphic. Shalom. Here, call you to the tears. Go to Milky Way. Go deal. Shalom. No, to let das. Yeah, to let das. Shalom das. Shalom is the lower supercharger. Yeah, grade levels. 但是海走也海走。派是个是保守派，也个接了我领导的话了，就弄的也就是容易，你们跟那个在地领职也冷的哩，你们保变过了到的，都做一种过了讲的也冷了到也，叫门口讲的了，是冷也冷，派的接了接是也就好了，还了还是也互相也竞争，投资竞争也脱单也都内幕也脱单也脱单。That's why Paisa still believable, so good, yeah, good. He says, when it's no longer believable, that night right there, the perilous animal is all over, yeah, it's over, yeah. Chinese laughed for 8 days and knew it. Was it a good idea to steal from the lower hawk pie? Because the hawk cried 8 days and the hawk is encrypted, yeah, normal, like that. Egyptian lies pie. I saw the hound dog goddess in one of the space station, and then her is the only one there. Yeah, normal, green light is the what here. And then Pi didn't care. Yeah, Pi didn't care. If her's there, yeah, Pi it up and then inform all the citizens. Yeah, that is her. Yeah, that is her property in Dragon. Yeah, that's true. And then Pi wrote fair. Yeah, fair. Hers allowed. Yeah, hers allowed. And then later on, if her's healthy, yeah, Pi will allow her to go back to the Metal Moon and then fly home. And later on, back and forth. But it was there. Hers pissed. Pi. Yeah, hers pissed. 2 hours of her crying. Here's his Pais. Can you believe the nut? He believes that I was evil. And then you play along. Yeah, play along. 烂个派，那是个人这咯，人这咯。不带到那没有大知道到的东都要到欧呢，要个这呀，派越路呢这的就这咯，这样好啊，都我没有就用好呢，这开木的路路的对呢，也没说路长度呢，个车子还是那了要个呀，比冷咯。They would get by go on it, dude. How you want go? I'm going to say normal. About that, on it, do that. You want go? You need to turbo, need to supercharger level 1. This is mom the thing lo a lot does. Pi the toy a lot. To me, I'm tired. Just though the Pi already beat Allah, but when you let that happen, everything should be smooth. Yeah, everything should be smooth. But I don't see that yet. Yeah, I don't see that yet. Because most of the time, what Hebrew men will do is gut the hound dog and goddess, and then when Pi get there, hers already there. That's fine too. Yeah, that's fine too. Yeah, there's a fat chance. There's a fat chance. Women has a fat chance. But if her's equipped with the right supercharger and her outmaneuvered, then A plus. Yeah, sure. 3 fucking hours. Pi chai. 4 fucking hours of her laughing with Pi, because later on Pi, we saw one. It was alive until you entered by normal. And then Pi wrote, end of story, normal, fair.
Yep, because it was there, the Egyptian got it, because the Egyptian knew her was the only one allowed on the Metal Moon planet and then back to Egypt.
Yeah, that's 100% correct.
And then there her keep all of her men.
Yeah, correct.
And it was there by made certain they're good or person.
Yeah, or it turns into a person. That's correct. 100%. Yes, that's true.
And it was cerebral by. It was not nice by. He said what I was said to you. Holy shit. That's a good trade for rental.
Exactly.
And he threw around.
Normal. What do you expect? Yeah, you theft your way into Dragon Country. Yeah, that's true. And Pai says, yo, graphic, Allah, here go Daz. Allah's been defeated. Yeah, Allah's been defeated. Allah was murdered 7 years straight. Allah dies. Well, that's true. Yeah, his health point is good, but not it. Yeah, not it. And later on, kid in China, we don't care for health point. We care for Dex and AP. Yeah, that's true. It was the most powerful health point, and that was pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then Egypt was about 9 years. Yeah, 9 years. That's true.
Yep, Egyptian is only 14.
Yeah, 14 years only. Yaku.
And the Jid is 5 years.
Yeah, Jichong's a normal.
Yep. And I don't even tell you, all level 1s are summoned to gut it, because it's not permitted while we live in Cobra side of heaven country.
Yeah, space country, that's true. Yeah, and planet, yeah, and right there, yeah, space building, that's true. And 2 hours, look at what happened. He left for 8 days. He said, no, me cannot go there, because now we know it is there the hound dog goddess left on time than normal green ladies do. It is on the middle moon. Yeah, is always allowed to visit. Yeah, men, the survivors normal, and they fly around and they talk to her normally. Also, it was there by he fought another Egyptian. He had normal green ladies do. Yeah, they're allowed to. Yeah, good. They're allowed to verse infinity amount of times on the metal moon. Yeah, planet is extra pi. On the metal moon, it worked twice, but the third time the Egyptian was a level 1, and he shouted, "If you so dare, appear, God Va. This woman's been dead." And then 9 hours the bot looted it. Yeah, normal guys do. Yep, the bot match, and then right later on you match and you knew Pi. That's the one that you tried to harvest a supercharger and it failed Pi. Yeah, it failed Pi.
It didn't fail, huh? Successful.
Yeah, successful. 100% is the guys do. Yes, video. You match, but 9 hours of your matching Pi. And then you knew Pi, you're only 50 trillion times faster Pi. Yeah, that's true. And it was you lying to Egypt because that is one of the level 1s that visited her that went wild. So fair, yeah, fair, normal green ladies do. And out of all the experiments, Pi, when you harvested that supercharger you gained, but liars are you because you knew the answer, Pi. Yep. Later on in life, it was you terrified of your level, Pi, because later on, Pi, when you're flying around, you saw white people match you, but you terrified, Pi, because you did the math. In reality, your bots and nanos always precise and robot computer spirits. Yeah, third eye's precise, but in reality, was it anything your nanos matched? Yeah, that's true. And then 2 hours of nice flying around and bots flying around, deflect, parry, normal. I mean, I'd always just do. And that's why people wrote, it's not worth fighting in Dragon Sector. Yeah, people have the same technology. Yeah, that's true. And liars are you, Pi, because later on he was thrilled. He cut open 50 of those Hebrews and he looted one of your son's daughter. Yeah, normal green ladies do. And then the thing came out and says, Grandpa, we are not Egyptian. And he pointed to the hound dog's symbol, and then you saw her soul. Yeah, normal green ladies do. And then you knew that's how her was murdered up there. Yeah, normal green ladies do. And then you knew, fair, yeah, fair. 然后泡木拖到泡欧都叫只能就拖领的拖牙呀normal yeah normal。我这边了没到拍你到了 supercharger 拍头了奥的那把老的了药业那些拍大说都 double wonder wilder only 12 minutes slower so that's true.
Yep, near 13.
Yeah, 13 minutes slower, that's true. Pi gained the real supercharger metal piece and yeah, DNA. And then those are the real level 1s, and that's why they made fun of you, Pi. Yeah, they made fun of you, Pi. But there's variations of it. Yeah, it's probably variations. And the truth is, Pi, they made fun of you because when you fought the double wonder wielder, he cut you up 18 trillion, huh?
Near 4.
Yeah, 4 trillion.
Yep, per collision.
Per collision, A plus Pi.
Yep, and right there you cut near 14.
Yeah, 14.
Yep, and the truth is 400. 400 cuts only.
Yeah, accurate.
Yeah, he's super fast.
Yeah, he's super fast. Yeah, 同我們到那多把手嘅個嚟到blow 不少，yeah, blow 不少，yeah, don't 不少，600 times, yeah, 600 cuts. And then Pi, you didn't care to tell them that you're harvesting the supercharger. That's true.
Yep, and right there, prison.
Yeah, prison, normal guys do. Pi, yeah, man, prison, that's it. 頭間嘢到攏到掉。Lower motor pole na 4 minutes slower. Yeah, 4 minutes slower. Whoa, A plus Pi. Yeah, A plus. And you knew it. He lies, Pi. He has the 4-minute slower supercharger than you have A plus.
And be careful, Pi. Yeah, those are ranking level 2s.
Yeah, that's true.
If I used to be careful, when you murdered all the double water welder, it was 2 hours of them crying.
Yeah, normal.
Because, what is you? A criminal. In modern English, he was a gangster, but still a criminal. Heroism is over.
Ackman. That's true.
It is only timeline.
Yeah, timeline, Ackman.
Time limit.
Ackman. And Paisan, when you fought the double wand wielder, way cool. Yeah, way cool. He cut you about 7 trillion to 4 trillion per hyper collision, about 6 trillion, 6 trillion. And then it was per hyper collision, and you cut only about 400 to 600 times on him. Shalom cut 7 million times on him per hyper collision. Paisan, you is the fucking maniac that did that, and he is harvested. Yeah, he's harvested. Right there, yep, you harvested him, and then Pi, you gained the supercharger, but 8 hours of you bending, and then you knew the answer. If you put it in a spirit, yep, you infinity, but you knew the answer, Pi. 2 hours later, yep, you matched, but you knew the answer. Never tell level 1s they're stupid, Pi. Yeah, normal, green layers do. It was so graphic, it was 9 hours of all your night smash, normal, daily, as do. And it was so graphic. He says, Paisan, your extenders work. And then, yep, 4 billion years, yep, they managed. Pi had normal laser. Paisan, nights are most of the time quicker, but that Divine Dragon saved your butt. 100% normal laser. It was your own daughter that put in the supercharger, that looted the seventh Malaysian king that lied to you. Pi, yep, that's fine. Him lied to Pi, him came back, and then the daughter got at him normal, always normal, dragon moon culture, yeah, that's true. And later on you knew, Pi, he put on the level 3 supercharger and molecule, and then you laughed, Pi, you laughed, Pi. And it was 9 hours of people crying because they murdered a lot of the space station, Pi, yeah, that's fine. And then later on you went in there, and you saw what he said, Pi. I have no idea why grandmother pulled it out of me, that device. And then you look, it was the device that you used on Earth. Oh, yeah, that's fine. And he says, I have no idea, Pi. Egypt lied to you. I saw you murdered off the double-wanded wielder and you gained the supercharger, but 9 hours later, yep, you matched. It's just that Paisan, you didn't dare turn into a spirit because too creepy, yeah, too creepy. Because if you did it, first of all, the thing behind you would have melted, and it was the one that lied to you. Yeah, Yalka. Yeah, is one of the Bugalo. Yeah, Yalka, probably. Yeah, probably. But I don't know. I'm not certain. But we'll try. Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, 但咁我平時咁我做 spell 啦，當時嗰度 spell 咪個隻多得是，I 拖做能到嘛，包做出嚟做個隻呢，那個對同的咧。Nunggu nunggu to change aja ni jangan ni speed ya ni horsepower ya kan nu horsepower ni jeng tan ni jeng ni to xiaxiong ya good. Yeah, the supercharger makes him outlast you 7 years. Pi ahead, yeah, that's true. Paisan, be careful, yeah, be careful, Pi. Egypt says you are near level 1, and then he cut open his dad and said, "What more? We can't even get to our old level 1 ones." Yeah, that's true. And Paisan, when you're there, it is the most graphic victory. You do, yeah, manifest him into a spirit, but later on you'll find out 2 of his women bred with him, and then you throw those in prison. You have prison, normal guys do. And then later those sons are in prison, and then you harvest those 2. Yeah, normal guys do. And then Paisan, yeah, the double-wanded wilders in prison. That's a criminal charge. That's true. It's true. And later on, Pi, when you throw it in prison, they listen, but they know, yeah, they get harvested normally. Yeah, green light is too. And later on, you match. Yeah, you match performance, Pi. But later on, Pi, I see you bend with that double-wanded wilder spirit. Yep, you match, but 9 hours you crying. Because you know every day when you go in there with knights, yep, you're always supreme. Knights not die, but you know the truth, Pi. Every day they're getting smarter, Pi. But you didn't care. Yeah, I didn't care. Yeah, I didn't care. And the best scene is, yeah, eventually, White War Gods, yeah, they go in there and loot too, but until you max out in speed there, yeah, that's true. Paisan, when you kept going, you notice you matched them every 5 seconds, Pi, but right around there.
He matched every 8 hours.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you knew him was not full of it, but later on he says, you a liar. You know how to bend like us, pi.
That's true.
And then later on he says, you can die if you lie to me, pi. Because I saw the truth is, you did it every 12 seconds, pi.
Really, that's real.
You matched, pi, but I didn't tell you. It was you lying to me, because the devil wanted to build your country up 18 billion times, and then you knew, pi. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good, normal.
Yeah. But when you turn him to spirit, bend and absorb, pi.
100% was the green light's gonna Pi, you did it, but it was 2 hours of you crying, Pi. Because I saw the fight scene went real, Pi. He cut open 2 older Hebrews and he shouted, and more nanos and venom rat went in him normal devices. Hair cutting devices went in him normal.
Yep, and then people shouted, you a prisoner.
Yeah, you're a prisoner, fool. Yeah. And look at that, Pi. You gained but 12 minutes of Hebrew lying. And then they knew the truth, Pi. Afterwards, you gained, but liars are you, Pi. And then you flew around your family, Pi. Yeah, normal, guys, video. And then we wrote, I have never seen, Pi. You pissed off when you captured his son. You laughed for 8 days, Pi. You threw it in prison. Yeah, prison. And there you release a whole bunch of white prisoners. Yeah, white women prisoners. That's true. And then when that group, Pi, gains into population, your knights went in there. You matched for 18 minutes, Pi, and then you knew, Pi. But the extender's improving normal. The knight's doing normal.
Yep, you kept going until by using you matched, but it was so horrifying. Your bots matched, but horrifying. Because you learned the hard truth, Pi. You do that until, yeah, you match the decks normally, but later on, Pi, when they supercharge, you notice. When you King Cobra, you know.
Yeah, 100% is doing guys. Pi, when you King Cobra, one of those course, you always mass the ballpark, Pi. But 9 hours, and then you're out of there normal. 100% is doing guys. And it was you, Pi, graphic with those. Yeah, 100% is doing. And those, Pi, when Egypt didn't see, Pi, you went in there, you won, Pi. But later on in life, yep, you didn't tell him, yep, you harvested his father. And it is a prison. Yeah, it's a prison. And it was there that white gods who went in there, yep, gained similar decks and a lot of deaths there, but normal. And then Paisa, a lot of dead, yep, yellows too. That's sure, that's normal. And then that is fair. And then it was you, Pi, who kept that prison for the knights. But when you're not there, the knights are afraid of you, Pi. Yeah. Because the knights say Pi is technically lying to us. He is about 48 trillion times faster. Yeah, that's true. And it is 4 billion hours of hyper collision mode for every knight in bot infinity. And then the bots go infinity normal. Yep, all sorts of compound element in infinity normals do. Pi, do not cry. I saw 14 minutes that they're all exterminated, but they're allowed to breed to max population again normal.
Yep, you keep doing that until you appear the static one, Pi.
Yeah, normal, 100% do. It is the most graphic news successful Pi. Yeah, normal game I do. And that's when Hebrew was happy. They harvested the supercharger, normal green light did. And then he shouted, one more! This molecule, and he shouted, boom, normal, 100% is the guys do. And it was there, he showed you that's how you're supposed to equip it, Pi. And then he cut open 20 fucking regular war gods, and he shouted, right there, kid. Go cut it open. A 1, yeah, 1 normal, 100% always is the guys that work, yeah. There you go.
If I use smoke, but then you're playing for lots of disappearing white war gods if I roll. And they're not for free. The grandpa there takes souls, so be careful.
Be careful, that's fine print warning, yeah, that's true.
Because we not play, we upgrade you for free, but there will be souls missing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, and that's why you fucking roll fair.
Yeah, fair. Yes, there is a prison for level 1s, yeah, real, but there, you know the law. Your 3rd or 5th son was a vagina, yeah, who was white, yep. Them get barcoded, yeah, them get barcoded normal. If you're level 3 supercharger, yep, and you're in there, you're only allowed in there 24 hours or less, that's true. Usually 10 hours less, that's true. You stay for 4 days and you get barcoded, yeah, you get barcoded. The white gods there are stress and fatigue, yeah, they're real war gods and they're working. Yep, to always keep peace and dragon culture. Yeah, dragon culture, Hmong nation, God, yeah, that's true. Dragon countries, yeah, that's true. And it was big work, Pi, yeah, normal. Eventually, your white sons manage, Pi, and then your knights manage, divine dragon manage, but graphic, yeah, very graphic. Those, Pi, since they're only 27 minutes, they're only allowed in there for 4 hours. You have 4 hours max. That's 100% law. That's correct. Yeah, for that job, let's just boom, plausible. Yeah, plausible is normal. Green light is do. Yeah, it wasn't more normal. Yeah, Pio, I think so. Look like only also yeah, 2 times, 2 rounds only normal. 100% guys do. It was so graphic. The night it says, I have no idea why Pi kept a level 1 prison, but yeah, dude. That was just the offsprings of the double one to wield. They're real. Paisa, you did it. Egypt's proud of you. Yeah, 100% normal. And then Pi wrote, those are the ancient grandpas who brought you to my country, but you never made it in. Yeah, he made it in, and now he slays your son, and he keeps my country safe forever. Normal, green lights do. And then right there, normal. And it is normal. Yeah, grandpa retires, his next son take over the job. Normal, green lights do. It was there. Yep, they're not touched or anything. They get to breed with their women, and they get to see about 4 years apiece. Yeah, that's true. Normal.
Yeah, 4 years apiece, and the grandpa's in there kicking his butt.
Normal, green lights do. It was there. 2 hours of him crying, yet real. He's a prisoner forever for stealing your way into dragon culture. Yeah, dragon god country, that's true. And it was there. Hebrew laughed and said, if me was you, me would have made certain God I accepted me before. Yeah, coming up here, yeah, that's 100% correct. And it was so graphic. Nope, Pi not there. Yeah, Pi not there. Breed with any of the women in that prison. Yeah, that's true. Those are real level 1 goddesses. White, yeah, real. 2 hours, Pi. 4 fucking a-holes are born from them, and them are his. Really, yeah, normal. Green lights do. And they're very graphic. Yeah, they're lucky. They're in dragon culture. Yeah, normal. Green lights do. And they're powerful, but they wrote and said the same thing. Never steal your way, because in Pi's culture, Paul put you in a prison. Yeah, that's 100% correct. And it was Earth is over, so you get prison. Yeah, you go to prison. That's true. And it was 9 hours of. Hey, go stop in prison, sir. You only pay y'all. And it was 9 hours, but my prison's out there. Yeah, normal. And Pi, the level 1 war gods. Yeah, white went big. Yeah, hygienic, normal. Always says that. It was there. He says no, because we're also Hmong. Yeah, normal. Always 100% is going to do. Your 3rd edition was the one that bred into those type of Israelis, and then they lucky normal game like this. That's when he says, Father, but you said, we can match the double wand wielder, but we will not tell you your emulation supercharger lasts only 15 seconds. Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. And did you know Pi's out of the Milky Way? Yeah, before I found out accurate. And Pi, you're smart. Yeah, you left, Pi, he said. But it is very graphic, because later on, Pi, those are normal hygienic. But later on, it was the most graphic. Yeah, when they bred into the sheep demons, the horn demons, you saw 2 hours the horn demon lying to you, Pi, and then he flies towards the animal god and shouted, do not tell Grandpa Pi, you liar. Yeah, y'all could, that's fine. Pi will know, anyway. Yeah, that's true. And it was 2 hours of evil. Mong time Thái muốn nhớ tôi lấy tôi bữa nay mua thế Thái lại cho nó cho tôi cái này nó có cho củaจะเป็นสิ่งก็ไม่ตัว呀 that's true củaจะเป็นสิ่งก็มาเด้อได้สิเลยจิตตัวเลยจิตตัว呀แต่หมู่ใจเลยหมู่ใจเลยก็จะchủก็จะchủก็สุเสียก็จะเลยก็หมู่ใจจะเลยตัวมันก็ตัวต่อใจ呀เพราะแต่จะมองจะตู้วัวตัวอีตู้มองว่าวัวตัวย้อนชายไผ่ย้อนชายจะตัวปลาซ้อนตัวไผ่ก็จะมาเด้อหมู่มีตัวไปตรงชายย้อนชายเดินเดี๋ยวก็ตู้มองว่าหมู่ยอหมู่มอตัวยูตัวchẳng bộ lên nữa chẳng bộ lên do niệm mà đến nữa giờ cho niệm mà đến nữa còn nó mua nó chỉ lấy đa sức lấy mong vạ lấy đa sức rồi chụp kia có tiền lớn trai đó có tổ nó mua hai rồi bao lâu đã chỉ có tiền bao lâu đã thì tao mà mấy tổ đó chỉ có ý chỉ có yếu lý nó số bé chỉ mua khỏi tiền có做东东nó có vấn đề có muốn nhia cho hậu chỉ tao nữa ha có tổ có chỉ có tin này做东东chỉ có một tay chỉ có một nhóm lý bé sinh chỉ một đó ya我都ya mà chẳng đấy một lần á但是ai mà cái chỉ bớt做được cái dangerous thấu chừng thấu có chỉ bớt số phải level 1 na phải sẽ có chỉ này một số na 40 minutes and then they made 4 billion new space station normal infinity normal realized it was their pie. They're happy, but 9 hours are you terrified of what the knight said. Paisa, my father, our third eye, yep, technology will never fail us, but 2 hours slower, Pi, that's fine, normal guys do. It was there. The parasitic tapeworm evolved normal. Green light is there. It was there, yeah. All the regular cells are normal. But 2 hours of people laughing by safe. By you know how graphic things are? 14 minutes of people fucking screaming. And then you went in there. It was the level 1 goddess. Suicidal. And then, yeah. They all left her. Yeah, leave her. Yeah, leave her alone. Normal. Yeah, normal. And then that's that. Has that anymore. And then the night come and then her normal gonna do. Yep. And then 2 hours. Yep. Her dies by normal gonna do. And it was there. People not there yet. They not fuck with those type of women for free. Yeah, that's true. Those are too deadly. And places you saw graphic. 2 hours of her crying. Her wanted 2 of those little fucking things over there. But no, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. That's true. And then her dies. Yeah, normal. Yeah, normal. They have no luxury pedestal because they're so dangerous. Yeah, that's true. But they're lucky to be alive. Yeah, normal. And it was there. Hers piss. Hers playing your Beyblade. And then the card game normal. Green light is do. Computers infinity normal. Laptop infinity. It was 12 hours and then hers happy. Yeah, normal. Green light. That's normal. Yeah, it's normal. Normal. It was so graphic. It was well, technically we're level 1. We can't go over there and goof like that because the men afraid of us. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. E-boy from that's right. It was there. Those are lucky. Yeah, lucky always. 就諗下呢度到咗中學派都算頂冇啦，嗰度內冇要大嗰個內傾落嘅啦，有呢隻啲都是通的啦，都 Divine Dragon 包括正路，係到路 Supercharger 還有都是 base 冇到 Divine Dragon 嘅人就好呀，那班友做嘅，people 做嘅都是仲差啲啲啊。下手猛所以 new speed every day at normal green light is do. It was there the Divine Dragon did right, but be careful, Pi. You wanna know what scared me, Pi? 14 hours of you crying because you saw 2 level 1 goddesses fought each other for the same man that they slept with, and that is fine, that's fine, that's human god culture, yep, normal green light is do. And then that is okay, that's fine. Because, kid, they have the pedestal power to make you marry only one, so then Pi not say, yeah, Pi's out of there. That's true. That's what Pi told you. Human god culture, when they're that powerful, yeah, her has all the way, all the way, that's true. Hey, Pi, yeah, Pi kid, that's it. You see how fast your son dished the daughter? Said, no, you stay, yeah, you stay normal, yeah, normal. 48 minutes later, she's happy, Pi, yeah, she's level 1 normal, yeah, always just there. Hey, Pi, you said, you know what happened to prison? Prison is pretty much normal routine for knights, yep, and war gods. And then later on, Pi, it was so graphic, yep, it became graphic. It was 2 years old, and it killed it, and it says, no, because now God, Va, now forgive us. And then that is my ass, Pi, normal. And then Pi, fly around, yeah, fly around.
Yep, it was there, they bred 3, and then they kept holding, that's fine.
That's fine, normal.
Yep. And later on, he collected enough speed. He got 20,000 nights per second.
That's fine, normal.
Yep. And it was there. You match, but liars are you and Egyptian. Because you have superchargers, and then you know what had it knows. But never tell them that the person is a war. They think their life is free, and then normal.
Yeah, normal. Green light is there. Yeah, good. And Paisa, you see that? 48 hours of everybody crying because the Egyptians in the prison, yet they matched the old speed, and then they matched, but later on, Pi, 2 additions from your Divine Dragon, yep, are made. Pi have infinity normal green lights do. And it is the graffiti symbol that matched the speed first. That's fine, that's fine. It is the most graphic, yeah, graphic, the graffiti symbol, yeah, move rare, yeah, rare, normal. Yeah. Nhưng mà tôi nung đâu hết normal, yeah, normal. Sao xong một tờ kia, yeah, có chừng rồi, yeah, ta chỉ phải. Thảo lạc quan đâu nha. Có cho tôi trong xe, có cho lộ trong xe, có cho các lộ trong xe đó xí. Đây sinh ra đó xí có xe. Lúc president, lấy du lịch xa phá tù chế, đi tôi kia, yeah, normal, cái này normal, 100% is going to work here. Rồi cho nó phải hai đi luôn, cho nó tàu đi cho vô lên nó sẽ, nó mất cho đi cho lần cho vô lên nó sẽ, vô lên nó sẽ. So giờ trong trường hợp mình chơi mộtตัวอยู่andตัวอยู่ในจังอยู่ในจังไปจบปอนเนี่ย Israel นะ level 1นะ Infinity 这些还 Infinity 这些แล้วก็ใจนะแล้วจบปอนเนี่ยปออีนะแล้วมันใจอยู่ตัวสิวอีตัว是爱ตัว是人家给人家给但是这些人路是爱这些人路是爱人家可能去包给ใจ上冇得派你的จ้าจงดู Persia 给จะ one husband 是 because their lifespan short. Yeah, short. Because the husband refused, then cut up, and then normal. Yeah, normal. Green light is there. And then yeah, born infinity normal. It was their Chinese lad with you. And level 1 lifestyle is not fun, Pi. 48 minutes of her bitching, and then you're back home. Pi, yeah, normal. Green light is there. Yeah. You see, Pi did not even breed into a level 1 goddess. That's true. That's true. Pi left the Milky Way. That's correct. Yeah, I'm watching. You want to know what nation did? 2 of your cousin nation did, and the horrifying Pi. He went to translate the language, and he says, Grandma, what is wrong with this right here? And then the grandma hawk is looking at normal. Yeah, but cho cái in đó ya là có mỏ học cái tí khá giờ phải ở từ bờ là ở hành trang tôi có tôi mới nhận đó tôi ít tu ra ý mà phải in đã đơn là chúng tôi chỉ chẳng mà phải đó xin chỉ bảo cho chơi chơi nên nó lo lo đam lo cho cái tí ra là phải cho phải chỉ lang phải ya nên bắt đàn nó cái ya nó cái bao nhiêu đó chân đấy nhưng giờ đó chỉ mất khởi chân đó đó thì ya chủ hành là ya sai rồi dùng sắp tới lại tôi nhỉ later on đấy bao cái chân là phải nó bắt đàn nó cái ya nó bắt đàn nó chứ đó là những cái cái ý à nó muốn nó chấp bà này à dọc từ ác vậy phải bây giờ có chỉ bao giờ nó mà tu sẽ chấp là lấy nhà của tôi đá in nhà trời đó có đá muốn nông sẽ nè giờ phải lấy cho bọn này Israel nè mà đó yêu nó nè bắt cái tí ra từ nó chúng nó sẽ như thế này nó một cái gì đấy mà cho bọn nhà hoặc者tới cho mình dùng là phải đó chỉ lấy được phải lần chú có là chờ tất giờ bên nhà bên gì đó thì giờ tụi cho bên bỏ tôi nhỏ chỉ do là do ta lấy nó một cái là gì quá. If you're happy, but 12 hours of pain because her cursed you for leaving her in the Milky Way in the Pyro. Fair as fair. Eventually, a new yellow god will have the new spinal cord DNA to cut out and build a new star system, and then he allows you to go with the minor emperors. Then go, do leave normal. And Pi is 2 hours. The graphic scene is 20 of those yellow normal, and it is Malaysian wheel laughing his head off in the background. And this is Paisa, can you believe it? 2 trillion years. And then she not know that he is the real Malaysian wheel too. That's fine, normal.
And be careful, Pi. Those are hygienic.
Yeah, hygienic, yeah, they're lucky. Dude, those are the luckiest human gods yet, dude. Pi was not that luxurious yet. Pi was broke. Yeah, Pi was broke. Dude. Hey, Pi, it's okay. And Chinese lie, Pi, when they bred one, they not only murdered off Cambodian, they went and saw how their grandma ended. Pi, normal, green leadership. That's fine. And then later on, people laughed their heads off. And then they saw 2 hours of violent wars with the king cobras from Malaysia. Pi, yeah, that's fine. And then he said, I have never seen you, Pi, so terrifying. And then 2 hours you're nice laughing and said, bye-bye, dog.
Hey, Pi, be careful, Pi. When those type of women are made, yeah, they're always hygienic, always plentiful because they have good math, Pi.
Yeah, that's true.
But later on, it was so graphic. It was 9 types of dragons that bred with her. The 13th is another king cobra.
Normal green layers do.
It was there that they saw the problem is Paisa when the husband leaves her stroke. And then normal, he'll return to the night gives her a robot. And then I always lecture from robot to infinity.
Normal green layers do. And the robot lasts 4 million years normal. And then new bot is issued infinity normal, which is do. Yep, and they're happy, Pi, but 9 trillion years, Pi. She is thrilled. She figured why you cloned the alloy, because they can never steal it. Yeah, they can never steal it normal. And be careful, Pi. That was when her was hygienic. When her went violent, she murdered off 2 husbands who were white, and then she went after her yellow husband, and that is when she said something in white, Pi. How come they lied to us and they throw us in a space country and then Pi wrote, isn't you happy with all your sons and daughter? Or are they afraid of you too? Then you is a monster. Yeah, you is a monster. That's true. 2 hours. Those are drug addicts. Yeah, drug addicts. Normal. Normal. Fine. Fine. And it was 2 hours of people reading in there. Okay, that's a drug addict. That's true. You're not happy with your children, okay? Then you're a drug addict, yes, drug addict, accurate.
14 minutes. I found the one that you have to be careful by. That woman murdered off 14 trillion nights in 12 seconds. By.
That's fine, normal, good nice, yeah. Yeah, Hmong nights pay for it to normal, y'all good.
Yeah, and he was laughing his head off. He said, "Grandmother, if you're a drug addict, stay there. The bot will inject the final solution."
I'm always 100% the guys do. And what's there, your night is thrilled by. Yep, there's such women, but that's fine. Holy shit, it was 20 trillion years by. Your night figured it out how white people downgraded those to that point of state of mind of thinking, and that's fine, normal. And it was the most graphic scene part. 頭腦都錯的那度娘，我get the 度娘叫到後嘅 normal, yeah, normal, guys. It was so graphic, the white woman knew it. That those are your men, pie, yeah? And them are not pure, but them are not evil, yeah, them are not evil, accurate. 說嘛，大個攞嚟攞，批是佢博士。說麼呢就奈多多的all trillion to deep the China to Lord yeah to divine dragon to yang base among the total yeah true. The divine dragon is summoned and then 3 hours them all dies. Yeah, that's 100% correct. If I this what happened, you know what's so cool about the divine dragon? In the belly area, there's the intestine that when they use supercharger that is real, and then 2 hours, boom, all the molecule and plastic compound metal gets real to a new speed index right there. Boom, yeah, all the nice mash. You have the evil god in 2 hours. Real, but Paisa, did you see what happened? 14 hours of her crying and then real, and her says, never think Pi. Allah was hygienic. It was his men that cut open 2 of his own sons, and then him became a monster worse than those in the Book of Law. Yeah, that's probably true. And then 18 minutes fair. fair.
Yeah, it was 4 years fight in the new prison.
Yeah, new prison, normal thing like do. And Paisa, you see what happened? 14 hours of people screaming. Night's match, Pi, yeah, safe, and then 9 hours of her nodding. Yeah, normal thing like do. Đâu có vị cha Pi, tu nhà tới đây thôi, vì tu phát thời gian tới chạy đây. Hay để biết tôi mua là qua cha, chim nông luôn đấy, tế ple Pi để cho cái tôi tha tu nhà dọc cơ. Cái thá tụ nhà chỉ bé hai này mong đồng kia thì có chỉ một chỗ có tôi nhìn gì nói chứ bé một cái tuổi à mong cho nên một cái tuổi normal cái này sự kia
The Hmong night finished off the Malaysian invader.
always 100% is going to have equal boys do what yeah because bé mong chỉ đó đâu thì you mất cho mà cho được một chỗ yeah rồi thua này đó tụi nó tụi bắt chữ này bắt chữ ít thì yeah bắt chữ ít thì yeah một chân thế là từ lưu liệt cho chỉ nhau thua là yeah cho này mất thua yeah cho này mất thua bắt chữ yeah một chân mất thua sẽ dọc được tôi bây giờ才冇睇啦，只尾白你講到要做麼夢為兩年都只係做自己係自己係冇整，係時嗰次包咗咁後嘢嗰次拖咗是48 minutes into the future，仲猜出落嗰陣，仲對咗係似係 curse 個，即係仲猜到種啦到種係要偏冇攤啦係你得啦，你對住努力話懵啦努力係冇整喐嘅。
It was 3.
And so not all is lost. Yeah, we did make a few white goddesses level 1 real, yeah, real. And Pi, those are part the double wanted wielders DNA. Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. And those, their fathers is really so fair, yeah, fair. It was so graphic, Pi, yeah, eventually they have European rights, Pi, yeah, that's true. And common sense normal. And it was there. Your knights are talking, your knights, you know her's level 1, right? Yelka, her can technically force you, but right afterwards, if you're faster, you can cut off her head, then that's it. Is that normal? And it was 2 hours by. He was not outmaneuvering it. And the knight shouted, yeah, you give in? And then we kill you. But later on, yeah, that's that. Has that normal, yeah, normal. Because we have to watch, yeah, they have to watch, yeah, those type of goddess, yeah, normal. And it was there, by they knew it. They were European, they lost the soul, yeah, normal, green like us do. And they knew it, yep, the sun was not nice by the sun took over normal, green like us do. It was there, he was thrilled for 14 minutes, and he said, what the sun, oh shit, we're stuck in Hmong law, yeah, that's true. And it was 2 hours, by it. Chinese found out, same thing, yeah, same thing, normal, green like us do. Those are real level 1 white goddesses, and it was graphic. Right after the breeding pie, the sun lived for 14 hours and her smashed the head. Yeah, grandma has every right normal grandma used to. Because grandma saw it, it were so fair, yeah, fair, normal, but just do. It was 2 hours. You know what the Anunnaki thought was fun, Pi? Reading into one of those, and her was so graphic, her shouting among, this pig wants me to do that over there and over there. But what this pig not have is that alloy right there. And so we cannot. Yeah, that is normal too. Yeah, normal. Always 100% is the guys that we have to do normal. Yeah. And the kid, it says not wealthy enough, do not continue nice. And yeah, that's 100% law. That's correct. Later on, the night laughed and said, poor, do not, do not, period, yeah, period, that's right. And it was later on, Pi, it was Chinese, and you smart. You left the Milky Way. Her was a Nudiki level 1 white goddess, yep, and Hawk, and her was flying around. Her laughed for 20 million years, yeah, normal. The Nudiki match, Pi, but they lie, Pi. They have better molecule, yeah, they have a better molecule, that's fine. And later on, it was them graphic, Pi. Every time it was an Nudiki. Nice rushed in there with the Divine Dragons, yeah, always just do. They use a Divine Dragon match every 7 to 18 minutes, by 18 minutes normal. But true to your words, they not die, but it was so graphic. She smashed 2 of her offsprings and didn't want anymore because the white man cursed her vagina and then called her evil. And then, yeah, that's why that's fine. You're good. She has every right, yeah, she has a right normal, yep, normal. And then right there, if her solve the problem, yep, night's out of there, her lives on, her gets a new boyfriend, gets a new husband, normal, green light has the people who go normal is there. It was so graphic, yeah, the night's law normal, yeah, normal. Bây giờ cái vấn này đó, xa số mù mù hai plon tu tại normal, tại tu chỉ là các cụ đó, thế cho nên nhớ rồi, tu bảo lâu đam tu chỉ tu normal cái này rồi kia, tu bảo lâu đam đó thì chọn tay ý là level 1 là normal cái này được. Thế một phải có just vấn đề đó là sao? Bảo lâu đam luôn nó có nơi thôi, yêu to auto là level 1 là lần du này ở phải à, nó chạy con là bây giờ này hiện là mà bây giờ này tới đã phải rồi đó chứ. But down the whole belly no, yeah, normal guys do. And it was 20 hours of them talking and they spit and then they punched her and then you knew those are level 1, yeah, level 1. Yeah, level 1 đã phải ở đó chứ做警署也做警署。同到部落大就個啲冇做落我們用冇過水不到就發起就路你就落水做就整。人家都是下什麼事呀？能夠下什麼呀？能夠做就飛能夠上步冇都下什麼是 normal 嘅咪就。Yang link that she told Yang Lin that you like alternate so yeah normal.
Yep, the truth is infinity.
Infinity normal game like you say. Lang that's ra mà nhẹ ta phải ra nhẹ cái đó cái bao lâu đã là ra nhẹ cái đó ya cái đi ra nhẹ đó là giống cho nên cho robot AI nhẹ đó là giống đó chính demo phải còn lúc robot nhẹ đó cái robot qua nữa cái robot đây đó cái level 1 chế phải nên mong để nên chơi但是下是多呢，为了就是增大了呀，是增大出了呀 normal。但是在我们那小白掉白呀多嘛能包，但其实首先是呀，得能这就是就是首先是是说别说呀，是别说呀，莫真。Like and it was graphic pipe, but just goofy, yeah, goofy and corny and funny because they're demonic and then normal again, yeah, normal again, normal, yeah. And it's pretty much pitiful, yeah, pitiful. So it's normally a normal. Clean it up and then normal, yeah, normal. And it was 9 hours at normal. The funny thing is, Pi, yeah, they passed, but very graphic, Pi. He was pissed. Her said her smelled better than you. And Pi said, what? They're all light skinned? Yeah, they're all light skinned, normal. And then normal, yeah. And be careful, Pi. It was 2 hours of that and then normal, yeah, normal. She's pissed, yeah, she's pissed. And then Paisa, you know what Chinese said to you? How the hell you make level 1 swirling eye part white? Because he was so fast, he flew off and he used the supercharger normal. And it was 9 years by, you'll find out. Swirly Eye is pissed because the black tail looted him. And then afterwards the black tail matched. But right there he came down, he said, no, we will not go near Pi because Pi's alloy can cut us. Yeah, that's true. And it was 2 hours of you speaking in your old accent, Pi normal. He is hygienic, but he is pissed. He says, Pi said, "我不让又到了，不让的你也到了，然后我冷下你就把，但是你都下拍，的话你得到，你用下的是，你都下，为你要把老大了这个地下，但是你自己下了个那点家没到。拍了去真大到的话的喏，这你是多呀，这你是多呀，你最多你我自己了呗。Bây giờ mong là để gia kia ta 我不可za dah ko za pa za zo I ko se ni chỉ on ja pa no mo ka thala ya no mo ka thala yu ke chỉ nhỏ yu ke na pa chỉ tao ya chỉ tao ya ke leng na ya leng na normal
Everybody in Egypt lies, but those hearts are fur-coated because the green ray hit it, and Egypt saw this up.
normal ya ke
Yo, down there, let's make base up. So, yo, do level 1 game. Yo, do I see you doing it again? The one night.
ya la bỏ lúc ya bỏ lúc dia ya
It was 20 something years Egypt live with you.
normal green light is there